Two grumpy critics.
So after your glowing review, I decided to rent Thor Ragnarok this week.
Ooh, Ragnarok.
You ought to know by now. So I was looking for a bit of weekend entertainment, and I thought Thor Ragnarok, Paul said it was great fun. I'll rent it and have a good time. Mm-hmm. And like I said when you were talking about it, I hadn't been avoiding it. Although I must admit to a little bit of superhero fatigue, what with all the movies being so similar and all.
Sure.
But with your review pointing out that this particular movie is like the Marvel Comedy Hour, I decided to give it a whirl. And I wasn't disappointed.
Nice.
It had action, it had laughs, and it had several examples of what my dad says is omnipresent in superhero movies, and that is someone getting hit, flying back about 30 feet, and then hitting a wall which then crumbles around them.
I forgot to mention that in my review, but I actually laughed out loud when that happened in Thor because I thought of that. I thought of your dad. That was funny. But, oh, there it is.
So Thor Ragnarok was a fun and funny film, but I have to admit, I'm going to put my hands up here.
Okay.
I didn't finish it. I got tired. I decided to go to bed and stopped it with probably a half hour, maybe 45 minutes left to go. My plan was to finish it the next day, but I just didn't. Now, I've used the art gallery analogy before, and I'll use it again with some slight modifications. Sometimes you look at a piece of art, and it strikes you so hard that you fly backwards 30 feet, hit a wall, which then crumbles around you. No, you see a piece of art and you get so taken with it that you can talk and talk and talk about it, and the superlatives come thick and fast and you never get tired of looking at it. And then you see another piece of art and that's fine. You've got no objections to it, but you look at it and enjoy it and then you walk away in silence. And Thor Ragnarok is that second piece of art. It's fine. There's no objections to it, but I kind of walked away in silence, neither overly impressed nor irritated. The comedy aspect was a little bit jarring. And it took me 5 or 10 minutes to get into the groove of it being a comedy movie instead of just a straight superhero movie. I mean, the first Thor film was directed by Kenneth Branagh, so it had kind of a Shakespearean flair to it. Mm-hmm. Everyone went around talking like they were in The Merchant of Venice and not The Fast and the Furious, so wandering into that world again was odd when there were so many wisecracks. But eventually, the wisecracks became a part of that world, and I enjoyed the vibe whilst expecting everything then to be funny. Performance-wise, it's hard to complain about the cast. Chewing the scenery is absolutely essential. So the fact that everyone's trying to outdo everyone else in a pantomime baddie makes for a fun experience. Chris Hemsworth handles the comedy well, as does Cate Blanchett, who flips between an angry deity and a character who'd much rather be somewhere else. Jeff Goldblum is his usual odd self. And there was a surprise appearance by Anthony Hopkins. Not a spoiler, by the way. I just meant that I was surprised to see him there. Anthony Hopkins plays it down and easy as the King of Asgard. So I may have walked away from it, but it wasn't because of any real objections. I will see the rest of it eventually if it happens to float past me at any point, and maybe then I'll come back and finish my review. But until then, I give it 3 incomplete viewings out of 5.
Well, if you missed the last 30 minutes, then you watched the first 3.5 hours. So you held on pretty well.
Yes.
A Radio 6 international production from the USA. Copyright 2018.